And the fact is, our system of government is based on fraud. Let me explain that. And I'm not just talking in a vague way. Here's a concrete example. The Prime Minister of Canada recently made some promises to the veterans of Canada. And then after he had made these promises in campaign speeches, he said that, well, people shouldn't believe campaign promises. So let's think about that for a minute. The highest elected official in Canada is saying that if he makes a statement, that people shouldn't believe what he says. So where is the contract with our government? When are we supposed to believe him? Because if you take somebody's money and you promise to deliver something and you don't deliver that, that's fraud. It would be no different from me if I said, well, gee, I'm going to take your money and invest in some condominiums in beautiful Qualicum Beach, and I take your money and invest in oceanfront property in Saskatchewan. It's fraud. It's taking your money and saying, I'm going to do one thing with your money and doing something altogether different. That's what fraud artists do. So our entire system of government is based on fraud, and this was readily admitted by the highest elected official in Canada. You've got a government that had campaigned on open and accountable government, that had promised open and accountable government, that had made statement after statement that was in their party platform about making government more open and more accountable. When they get into office, they do the exact opposite. In fact, there's never been at a greater time where our government is less accountable and less open, to the point where members of parliament don't even know the financial implications of bills they're voting on. Let me just repeat that. Your member of parliament doesn't know the financial implications of bills that they're being asked to vote upon. That is anything but open and accountable government. It's the exact opposite. So people will argue, well, campaign promises, there's things that happen that they have to adjust or that circumstances change. That's fine-tuning a policy, understandable. But open, accountable government is a 180-degree turn from what they said that they're going to do. They've made government leaps and bounds less open and less accountable. So the system is based on fraud. You can't promise open and accountable government. Take my tax dollars after I vote you in, take my tax dollars to implement open and accountable government, and do the exact opposite. That's fraud. That's what our political system is based on. If governments aren't morally, legally, or ethically responsible to you and I, and they're not, I mean, you can bring up any number of examples that you want, do you and I have to follow the dictates of our governments? And the answer to that is, of course not. You do not have to follow the dictates of a system based on fraud, as admitted to by the highest elected official in Canada. You have no moral, legal, or ethical obligation to the government of Canada. I'm Alan Finney, and thanks for being with me today at Qualicum Beach, Buena Vista by the Sea, and beautiful Vancouver Island, British Columbia. It's an incredible place.